All right, guys, as we wrap up this series on one-point perspective, there's just a few more things that I want to show you that will actually help you as you are continuing to draw in perspective. And the first thing is how to make things, how to divide things equally. So let's say, for example, that I want to create a fence line here, and I want it to go into the distance, and I want the posts to be evenly spaced. So remember that in one-point perspective, you can measure on the vertical line or on the horizontal line, right? So these two lines that I just drew there are just for measuring purposes. So I've already done the first post, and I want it to be 3 inches tall. And let's say that I want it to be 2 inches apart. So I'll mark 2 inches here. Now, before I transfer it, obviously I need to take these two lines to the vanishing point. Okay. Then I've already established my 45-degree angles. Remember, that's super important. Your station point and your 45-degree angles in one-point perspective really help you when you are doing measuring. So I've measured 2 inches this way. I'm going to take it to the 45-degree point over there, and I am going to mark it on the bottom convergence lines. Okay. And I'm going to bring that up. Now, we need to divide this in half. We can either crisscross it or we can measure. Since we can measure on the vertical line, I'm just going to measure it. So 1.5 right there. And I'm going to lightly take that to the vanishing point. Now, rather than measuring every single one of these posts that I want to put in there, I can simply take this and transfer it. So all I have to do is line up the top left to this center line right here, like so, and mark it. Where that touches here, that's where the next post is going to be. And then I would just repeat that process over and over again to get the number of posts that I want. So measure this, line up the top left to the center, mark the bottom, take it up. And I would just continue that. And I would determine how many posts I want, where I want to stop it. And I could just continue that all the way to the vanishing point if I wanted to. But let's say that I wanted to end, say, here or here, and then go across. So let's do one more. We'll line that up, mark it, and take that up. Okay. Now, if we're going straight across, all we need to do is take those two lines across, just like so. Okay. So how do you figure out these posts that are in the back? Well, use this same scale here. So all you have to do, since we can measure on here, you simply measure every 2 inches and then mark them, or project them, I should say, to these in the back. And then just bring those up. And that's how it's done. If I wanted to keep going and I don't have any more space, I can either extend this line that way, or because this is on a horizontal line, I could measure this, which is right there, and then continue my marks and go across that way. So either way works really well. All right, so now let's see how one is on a horizontal plane. So the first thing that I'm going to do is establish where this horizontal line is going to be. That's going to be the front of my tile pattern. And then I'm going to get my divisions. I'm just going to do a simple one. And let's do them 1 inch apart. Okay, so this will be like a checkerboard pattern. So I'll have 8 inches across. Take each one of these to the vanishing point. All right, since this is a square, right, we have to make this a square, then I can use my 45-degree angle. So I'm going to line up my 45-degree angle to the left edge. And then where this diagonal line touches the ones that are going, the convergence lines, just go ahead and mark those. So that's step 2. And then step 3 is simply take those marks and go across horizontally. There you go. Now, to really emphasize the pattern, I would just shade this in a checkerboard or chess table. And I'm going to do it quickly. But it's every other one. So this is what our tile pattern or checkerboard pattern looks like after it's been shaded. Now let's try to do one where we have to use both horizontal and vertical. All right, let's go ahead and make a simple little Rubik's Cube. We're going to keep it simple. So if you want to follow along, I have this measured at 6 inches, which means that both of these also have to be at 6 inches. The next thing that I need to do is decide where I want the base of my Rubik's Cube to be. So I'm going to establish that with a horizontal. Then I'm going to measure, and just to keep it simple, we're going to stay with 1 inch. Okay. Now we said that we can measure the verticals in 1 point perspective. So since this is a cube, we need to go 3 inches up as well. So that will give you a perfect 3-inch square from the front view. So that's your first step. For your second step, you want to take this line, and this line all to the vanishing point. Okay. Step 3, we got to figure out where the back is. So I'm going to take this one to my 45-degree on the right, line them up, and mark it. And that's where that has to go up in the back, like so. And where that touches there, that's where it has to go across. Now we need to start creating our divisions. So bring this one up. Take those two to the vanishing point as well. bring these across. Take those to the vanishing point as well. And the only thing left to do is to figure out the top two. So, since we're working with 1-inch scale here, then I'm simply going to extend this 2 more inches here and here. Take those to the left, 45 degree. So line that up. It's going to be here and here. So those two will come across on the top. And then they'll come down for the right side. And there you have your Rubik's Cube in 1-point perspective. And then it's just a matter of adding your colors. All right, so the last thing that I'm going to show you for this week is how to divide a cylindrical object. So I got 2 examples. The method is pretty much the same. It's just one is horizontal and one is vertical. Okay, the first thing you want to do is once you have your cylinder drawn out, you want to draw a half circle directly below it or to the side of it, depending on whether your cylinder is horizontal or vertical. The next thing that you want to do, and you're going to need a protractor to do this, is you need to decide how many divisions you want. So we have half a circle, it's 180 degrees. Let's say that I want to divide that into 6 sections. That would give me 30 degrees. So what I would do, I would line up this cross here to the base of that half circle. And I'm going to mark every 30 degrees. And you can read them from the inside or the outside. So 30, 60, 90. And I can go the other way also, or I can just continue on. So 10, 20, 30, so 60, 30. And then we should be back to 0. Next thing that I want to do is simply connect those together so that I actually have my divisions on this half circle here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Then all I have to do is project them onto my cylinder. So here we go. Oops, let's go up a little higher. Right here, you're going to notice that this, because it's going away from us, is going to look much thinner. And the one that's closest to us is going to be the widest of the strips. This one should be right smack in the middle. And there you go. So that's how you would project, or that's how you would get your divisions. If you are doing a cylinder, you don't do it directly on the cylinder. It's best if you do it off, like so. In this case, I did the same thing, but I have 9. So, because this one is horizontal, all I have to do is project all of these points onto here. Super easy to do. The big thing is, you got to do a little bit of math and you want to be accurate. And if you do it correctly, you'll see that some of the stripes that are closest to us, like in the center of the cylinder, will be the widest stripes. And as the stripes start to go off around the cylinder, they should get thinner and thinner. That's it. If your stripes are horizontal, in this case horizontal, then you basically have to draw your little squares and draw your ellipses depending on where they're at. Remember that any ellipses that are below the horizon line will point up a little bit, will kind of lean up a little bit, and anything that's above the horizon line will lean down towards the horizon line. All right, so that will do it for this week's video. As you can see, that making divisions in perspective is not all that difficult. Remember that you can always measure on the vertical line or on the horizontal line when you're working in 1-point perspective. If you need to measure something on the convergence line, remember that you want to do it either on a horizontal line or a vertical line and then project them onto the convergence line. Using little shortcuts whenever possible will save you a great deal of time. And remember that for a cylindrical object, you want to create your half circles underneath or to the side of the cylinder and get your measurements off of that, and then just project them onto your cylinder. So there we have it, y'all. I would love to hear what you think in the comments below. If you're finding the content helpful, please like and share, and consider subscribing to the channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.